Hey, it's Danielle. Today I'm going to be talking about AMD earnings in focus. AMD is going to be reporting earnings tomorrow after the close, and this is going to be one of the most important tickers that is reporting this week because it's one of the big tech names. It's also a major semiconductor name, and also because it's recently broken down and it's been in a bit of a downtrend. So let's go ahead and look at the chart. Um, if you look at AMD, you can see that, before this most recent downdraft, it had a pretty phenomenal year until we topped out around 227. You'll also notice that there's multiple different earnings bubbles here, okay? So if you're looking at this chart, you can see this gap right here. This is the gap from last quarter's earnings report. So last quarter, AMD actually gapped down 3.7%. This is a pretty interesting move because after that, it gapped down, but it wasn't that big of a deal, right? It gapped down, it consolidated, and that's actually when it took off and made a new high until it reversed. But if you look back and if you look, just go back 8, 12 quarters about and just see what it has done prior to last quarter, you'll see that it's a little bit mixed, but for the most part, they generally do gap up after earnings. We had a very small gap up here. We had a gap here. This one was a big down move, 7%. But then we have a 4.4% move, 5.6% move, 4.5, 7.7, 11.2, 1.1, 2.6. So, you know, we've seen some volatility, right? Some up moves and some down, but for the most part, we have seen more up than down, even though most recently it was down. So what does that tell you? Well, generally, the majority of the time, it's going to trade higher. At the top of this indicator, I also have just an overview of analysis, which just demonstrates how they've actually done as it relates to beating EPS estimates. So they have beat EPS estimates 11 out of the last 11 quarters in a row, which is pretty good. So generally, when I'm looking at these stats, I can say majority of the time it trades higher. Yes, there is some volatility, but almost all of the time it beats EPS estimates. So where does that take us from here? Well, that's when it gets a little bit dicey because of the current pattern, okay? Typically, when you see a stock that in the most recent quarter had a larger move to the downside, and that also occurred when the company beat EPS estimates, that just gives me a little bit of an inkling that this quarter, especially because it's traded lower going into this quarter, that gives me a little bit of an inkling that investors are a little bit nervous going into that report. And what that may mean is that they may end up not liking what they see, right? Maybe the growth isn't strong enough. Maybe they don't mention AI enough, whatever the case may be, might just be a little bit picky. And it's also easier for the stock to trade lower when it's been in a downtrend and it's underneath all of these critical areas of resistance. So, I know it can be confusing to traders when I say, hey, you know what? I like the stock. They do normally trade higher after earnings. They do usually beat EPS estimates, but you have to be aware because there's a couple red flags here and there's a couple signs that this might trade lower. So, what would some trading options be on this ticker? Now, if you've been following what I've been doing lately, you'll know that I've been trading a lot of these earnings reports to both sides. And what that does is just gives you an opportunity to say, hey, you know what? Here's my analysis. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to trade it both ways because at the end of the day, we have no idea what they're going to actually say in the report and we don't know how the market's going to react, right? So let me just put on some options trades that can take advantage of the move in this direction, that direction, or if it's a neutral move. So let me go ahead and give you a few of those examples. Starting off, I'm going to do the neutral trade, okay? Why would you do a neutral trade? Well, if you're the kind of trader that says, I don't know if it's going to go up or down, but I think it'll probably stay within a range. What you can do is you can sell a neutral iron condor. So Looking at AMD right now, it's right around 160. We have a market maker expected move of $12.19. That puts the market maker move up into about 173 and then down into about 148. So, let's just call it 150 and 175, be a little bit better on the round numbers, or you could even go down to 145 if you want to do that too. But if you wanted to price out a neutral trade in AMD, you would simply go to your options chain and you would say, okay, we have a $13 expected move. We're trading right around 160, which is also right where all that open interest is. So let me see what it looks like to come in and sell iron condor. You could do 160, 175, 160, 145. That'll give you a $15 wide trade, and look at that credit. It's actually pretty good. Getting a credit of $10.22 for $15 wide. That means your max loss on the trade. If, for example, AMD drops by $30, the max you would lose is $478 a contract. So that is paired with the max profit of about $1,000 a contract. So whenever I'm pricing out a trade, I always want to look at the risk to the reward, because that is what is the most important. So that is a neutral option. In this kind of trade example, basically what I would do is I would just sell the condor, and then I would buy it back the next day. Try to buy it back for about $7 or so. So, if you sell it for 10, try to buy it back for 7, just buying back the premium you sold. That would be a pretty good overnight trade, especially on a Tuesday. So, just nice in and out. The idea would be, okay, it trades higher, it trades lower, but it stays within a $10 range. What about some directional trades? Well, a lot of the time I've been doing these butterflies at the market maker move target. So in this case, we have a target at 175 to the upside. And then we also have another target at 145 to the downside. Now, you couldn't do the butterfly and the condor because you would probably overlap some strikes and you would mess up your options trade. So you have to choose. I don't know which one I'm going to choose yet. I'll show everyone in the options room tomorrow, but I'm pricing them out for you right now. So a way that you could do a butterfly at the market maker move target would be by doing, for example, a 165, 175, 185 butterfly. Now, the reason why I like these trades is because it's really not that far out of the money. So it's not really a lotto trade. It's a delta 40 on your first strike. So it's pretty reasonable for it to become in the money, which is what you would want. In a perfect world, if you did this butterfly, you basically would want to see AMD go higher after earnings and be between 165 and 175. Okay. So the closer to 175, the better. But it doesn't need to be that much higher. It could be up at 167 or 168 and you'd still be making money. So with this trade has a very low risk. It only has $153 of risk per contract. So, I think that's pretty solid. And with a $10 wide fly, your max reward is going to be 847. So your risk to reward on this is very solid. It's a little bit lower probability just because it's a directional trade and, you would need AMD to be up above 167 or so. But I mean, I do these a lot and I really like setting up butterflies this way. So I do like that trade as well. The other thing you could do is you could do a bearish fly down at 145. So you could do, for example, 155, 145, 135. And in this example, that butterfly is going to cost you $1.91 per contract. So for $10 wide, you're risking about $200 and your max profit's about $800. So for something like that, I generally want to see it. You'd really want to see it trading, under 155, but preferably as close to 145 as you could get it. but it could just be a few dollars and that would be okay. So those are my trade ideas on AMD. If you're already a part of Simpler Trading and you are in our trading room, I'll see you there tomorrow. If you're not, you can go ahead and click on the link below and see how you can learn more. We have a special $1 trial going on right now. You can go ahead and sign up with this link and you can get access to my 5-Star Trader newsletter, my Options 101 class, and on my newsletter, get all kinds of fun stuff, mostly notes from me, trade reviews, earnings analysis, macro analysis, and more. So if you want to join me, click on the link and join me in the Simpler Central room where I'll be walking through these trades live tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing you there. Hey traders, thanks for watching this video. If you want to make sure that you get all of our free trading content, make sure you hit subscribe and also give us a like and comment down below. If you want to learn more about us and if you want to join us for live trading in real markets with real money, make sure you go to simplertrading.com where you can join us for more info. Thank you very much and have a great day.